So guys, now let's move towards the individual reaction involved in the biosynthesis of these important compounds, that is the biosynthesis of the glycoproteins. As I have already showed you that both rough endoplasmic reticulum and the Golgi bodies take a very important role in the biosynthesis of these compounds. Protein formation occurs, protein, the first part of the modification in the proteins start taking place when they are moving towards the endoplasmic reticulum, more accurately, the lumen of the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Here, the protein start getting glycosylated with the individual sugars. But keep in mind that individually the sugar molecules cannot directly attach with the proteins as long as the protein is being formed. When the protein is being formed, the sugar moieties cannot be added to it. They first have to be attached with a lipid molecule known as dolicol, which consists of 80 to 100 residues of the fatty acids. That dolicol get it into one place, the sugar moieties or the carbohydrate moieties. And once this is what we say, the protein is almost fully formed, then what will happen that this carbohydrate moiety will be separated from the dolicol. So in this sense, the dolicol acts as an anchor molecule so that it let the protein process to the translation process to take place first, and once the protein is formed, then it let the carbohydrate moiety to be incorporated into the protein. So as far as the addition of the sugars are concerned, the N-gluco N-acetyl glucosamine is the first residue which is to be added. That is followed by mannose and glucose. Then initial processing takes place. In the initial processing of this, the glycosylated protein takes place in the rough endoplasmic reticulum, while the further modification takes place in the Golgi bodies. What further modification will mean that the additional residues which are not needed, they are removed, and then those are added which give it the final shape, the final form. For instance, the NaNA or certain residues of mannose and so on and so forth, so that finally the glycosylated protein is in its final active or functional form. So as we have already talked about it, that the complexity of the glycoproteins can vary. It can consist of heterogroups, that is they're made up of many types of residues, sugar residues, or it can have same type of sugar residues like mannose, which are frequently occur in that simple type of oligosaccharides. Then once, whether it's it's made up of heteromolecules or it's simple mannose molecules, what will be the final fate of the glycoprotein? It again depends upon its structural aspects and what function it's going to perform. It can be exported towards the outside of the cell, or it can become the part of the cell membrane, or it can be routed towards the lysosome. Now, when it moves towards lysosome, it's interesting thing occurs that many of the carbohydrate moieties, specifically the sugar moieties known as the mannose, they are phosphorylated. They undergo phosphorylation and you get the mannose 6-phosphate moieties. These specific mannose 6-phosphate containing compounds, what is the use of this phosphorylation is that they are then recognized by the phosphate receptors, mannose 6-phosphate receptors. These mannose 6-phosphate receptors, when the mannose 6-phosphate binds with the mannose 6-phosphate receptors, for instance, these are the receptors here, and this is the phosphorylation. So the mannose 6-phosphate receptor then recognize these molecules and then it target them towards the lysosome for their functioning. For instance, there are certain lysosomal enzymes which, because of this phosphorylation, they can correctly be guided towards lysosome, where they can perform their function, which is most of the time the degradation of other compounds. So in that sense, that phosphorylation is very important. Then there is also, when such sort of mechanisms are involved, which involve phosphorylation, acetylation, certain enzymes are involved, then there is always also, you can say, vulnerability that if something goes wrong with the functioning of the enzymes or the genes which are encoding those enzymes, if they become mutated, there would be some diseases also. So a very well-known disease is the eye cell disease, the well-known disease which is involved in the which occurs because of the impairment of the glycoprotein metabolism. Why this impairment occurs? Because the enzymes which are involved in the phosphorylation of these proteins, they somehow are deficient either, or they are not properly functioning. And as a result of this, what will happen? That the proteins or these glycoproteins will not be targeted towards the lysosome, or will be mistargeted. And what will happen? That eventually lysosomes will not have the enzymes to perform their function. So because lysosome is not performing function, then there will be many substances which will remain in the lysosome being undegradable. So what will happen? That the lysosome then will be converted into specific structures known as inclusion bodies. So from this, the inclusion bodies, because of this inclusion bodies, this disease is given the name eye cell disease. It's a very, I would say, a very fatal disease. It leads to damage of the tissues. It leads to the damage of the skeletal muscles, and in most of the cases, the victim cannot cross the age of 10 years.